Hey there, everyone. How are you doing today? Hope you're having a good day. Well, it's Monday. It's end of the day. See what's going on. But I wanted to talk to you today about an interview I had on Saturday. So on Saturday, I was lucky enough to interview someone who had invested in Cardone Capital and had some frustration with an email that he had received. I think it was on Friday. Uh, that wasn't um, that wasn't very well done in this investor's opinion. Basically, the net of the letter was rent collections are great, and I'm not paying you. Again, this was one person's opinion. This is how they took it. They were not an accredited investor, so they were getting 4.5% return. I have subsequently heard from about a half a dozen or eight different investors in Cardone Capital since that interview aired. They've reached out to me and sort of shared their frustration. I think Grant needs to come out if he wants to salvage his reputation, and he may not care. But I've now had, again, let's call it half a dozen conversations with people that are hurt, nervous, concerned, and probably the most part disappointed. They're very disappointed in Grant Cardone. I've made an attempt to really understand each of these conversations for why they invested, and all of them. Um, I'll talk about that next, Lewis. It's $200 to answer your question, Lewis. Minimum cash flow per house. But back to the investors in Cardone Capital. They all invested with Grant because they trusted him. They trusted Grant. And that's why this email that came out is so dangerous, because Grant has decided to put out a note, an email that, in their opinion, is not trustworthy. And this is not going to impact any of the deals Grant has today because they're already in. He already controls the capital. But this is going to impact Grant's ability to raise money in the future. He needs to dramatically change the narrative of how he is treating his investors. He needs to be honest. He needs to share the pain that he's going through. Again, the email, and I'm going from memory on the Saturday discussion in the phone calls, but he talked about 92% rent collection, and yet he's withholding paying out his investors. That doesn't compute to these individuals. Grant needs to do a much better job of communicating what is going on. Um, and right now, again, people got in because they trusted him. Now they don't trust him. Now they see all those old videos with flashy airplanes and watches and him lighting $100 bills on fire. And you think those investors are going to be happy? They're going to think that that's their money being lit on fire. Just stupid. Take those videos down. That's not what you want to be putting out there today. So if I was someone giving Grant coaching advice, frankly, any syndicator, but this is really for Grant because it's that email that has really caused him to lose potentially his reputation. And that's all he has. He's a flashy guy who talks on tenants, and he needs to be able to raise private capital. So this is what I would say if I was Grant communicating with his existing investors: is first and foremost, we are in unprecedented times. This is something that frankly we hadn't planned for. We did not plan for a pandemic. Just be honest. Don't be embarrassed. Nobody planned for it. But let's own that. We didn't plan for this. We didn't plan for the federal government to issue stay-at-home orders. We didn't plan for the federal government to tell 30% of our economy to stop working. And we didn't plan for 16 million unemployment in 3 weeks. Just be honest. These are all things that are true, but let's share the pain. Now, as an operator of 8,000 units, like he loves to talk about, say that that means he has to be extra conservative today. And yes, we had 92% collection in April, but you know what, folks? I'm afraid that May and June and July are going to be much, much worse. Tell them if we get 92% collection in May and June, great. We will release your back distributions and everybody will be whole. But he's not saying that. Tell them, yes, April turned out okay, but I'm afraid that May could be 80%. In June could be 70, right? We don't know where this is going. So I think he needs to do a much better job about communicating that, yes, April was good, but May and June could be really, really bad. That's what's not in his email. His email is, oh, look at me. Oh, look at me. We're so much better. We're so much better. Our asset class and blah, blah, blah. But then he goes, I'm not paying you. That just doesn't compute to these investors who trusted Grant. And he's losing that trust factor. This is really what it's about for him. So I would do that. The next thing I would do immediately, and I'm very disappointed that he didn't include this in his email, is I would have told them that not only am I canceling distributions, but I am canceling my 1% management fee. I will not take my 1% management fee for the length of the time that you do not get a distribution. If $1 is important, $1 is important. Don't just take it from your investors. Cancel or postpone or carry or whatever you want to call it, but don't take your management fee. Escrow it. Keep it as a liability. I don't care. I don't even know the right term for it, but stop it. You're looking greedy. You put on this persona of flashy cars, a jet, filling out stadiums. But now when push comes to shove, you tell me you have 92% collection, but you can't send me my $50. People are disappointed. So be a leader. Step up. Stop talking about how everything is rosy. I listened to his live cast today about investing. There was a gentleman that called in. I think he was from Michigan or maybe Pennsylvania. He said, hey, Grant, I have half my net worth in Cardone Capital. I got my email or my letter about distributions. When can I expect them? It was a very easy question. And I'm shocked that his team let that question come through, but he did not answer it. He talked all around it, talked about this, talked about that, and then hung up. This is not good. He needs to be a lot more clearer, and he needs to share the pain. You can see he's stressed. You can see he's sending out all these emails. He has funds that are not full. It's very clear based on all the marketing he's doing. He bought apartments here recently, and he's not full. And he's trying to raise capital in an environment where he's not paying his past investors. Good luck. This is not good. This is how you destroy a reputation. He took him 10 years to build it. And in one email, at least based on the 6 conversations I've had, people are walking away. So for that gentleman that called in today, I would have told him, hey, again, as the email said, we collected 92%. If we collect 92% again in May and June, good luck. We can get you everyone their proceeds or their distribution or whatever the right vocabulary is. But I think his name was Mark. But Mark, understand that I'm very nervous about May and June. And I'm afraid that we could be in the 80s. And, Mark, I've got to be able to pay my debt service. I got to be able to maintain the property. I got to make sure we protect your asset. So for 90 days, we're going to withhold distributions because as an operator, I want to be prudent and make sure that I don't risk the property by not being able to pay the debt service. That's what I would have said. But then I would have also been honest and said, you know what? There's a chance this goes by 90 days. And, this could go 6 months. This could go a year. Be honest with folks. Don't let them be surprised. He let this poor guy off the phone like, hey, you know what? 90 days, I'm good. You know how pissed he's going to be when in 90 days he doesn't get his money? You're missing opportunities, Grant. You're destroying your reputation. Um, you've championed yourself being, protecting the little guy. You need to do better. I've talked to 6 of your investors, and I'm hopefully going to get more of them interviewed on this channel because I want you to hear from them. And not good right now. So in the end, Grant, share the pain, communicate more honestly, stop being everything's rosy, that there are some dark clouds out there, own them, and communicate that when you can get through this, you'll get through it together. But you got to tell them about the pain you're suffering and stop collecting your management fee, for heaven's sake. Just stop it. That's just not okay. If a dollar is important, a dollar is important. Stop taking it from Grant. All right, everybody. Take care. Bye.